What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode number 2 of Dreamer Cigars podcast. I'm very excited to be here, guys. We're going to continue to be here every Wednesday here in the Cutters Cigar and Spirits Lounge. Here with me, I got my co-host, Logan Hamilton, aka Hambone. Logan, how you doing?
Doing great, man. I love that nickname, Hambone. I thought about it for a while, but I had to roll with it.
I had to go back to it.
I'm doing great, man. It's always good to be here at Cutters Cigar Bar and Lounge.
It's never a bad time.
It's never a bad time.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about being here. So,
I mean, have you ever had a bad experience smoking a cigar?
No. Honestly, no.
You know, there's some bad draws every once in a while, which we'll get into, but
Right.
I mean, like, overall, it's always a good experience.
It is, especially when you're smoking this. So, what are we going to get into today, Adam?
Today, before I get into the cigar, I'm going to introduce myself, too. You know?
Oh, of course.
Of course. I am Adam Guard, your co-host. Your host, a.k.a. AG the Dreamer. Today, we are smoking the Perdomo Champagne 10th anniversary. And as you can see, we've got some different lengths because we want to show you there's always a different way to smoke your cigar. You may like them, longer, you may like them shorter, you may like them different shapes. We're going to get into all that today. But today, this Perdomo Champagne, it is a great rookie cigar. Mm-hmm. It's a great cigar to start off with, where you're just, you're getting into cigars, you're learning. It's a nice, easy smoke. It's not a heavier smoke, which we'll get into, but we are going to find in the 3 parts of the cigar, the binder, wrapper, filler, from inside out. Okay, the very inside is the filler. That is from Nicaragua. The binder is also from Nicaragua, but this lighter shade wrapper you see is an Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, and typically, not always, so don't quote me on it, but typically that will be a lighter, easier smoke. So we got that. Now, getting into the tasting notes. Before I say the tasting notes, it's always something that we joke about, because it's so hard for even aficionados. They may not want to admit it, but it's always so hard for people to say, I'm not getting anything.
Yeah,
right.
Very true.
So,
especially if you've lost your palate over time.
Well, yeah.
Smoking the heavier cigars.
Yeah, if you smoke too much heavy cigars, you will lose your palate. So don't do that. Mix it up. Have some fun with it. But today, in this specific Perdomo Champagne, we're supposed to get a little coffiness on the start, creaminess as we go through, and see if you can see this as we smoke it, because I've actually never looked up the tasting notes for this specific cigar. A subtle honey sweetness.
Honey sweetness.
Honey sweetness.
Okay, I'll pay attention.
I don't think I'm going to get it.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever tasted honey.
I don't think I'm going to get it. But, Logan, what are we pairing it with today?
So we're pairing it with a beautiful bullet bourbon. Straight bullet bourbon.
Right. On the rocks. Got to get a big rock because it's just cooler that way.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. Let's cheers.
So, cheers to that, man. Let's cut this thing up. So, as I'm cutting this cigar, guys, and we'll get into the different types of cuts later, but you really want to focus on your cigar, inspecting your cigar. Don't crush it or roll it in your fingers. That's a common misconception. Just inspect it, look at it. Is there cracking in the outside wrapper? That's going to cause the unwrapping. If you've ever had the entire wrapper come off on you, that's what happens.
So I actually had that happen to me a long time ago when I first started smoking cigars. Actually, a little backstory. My dad, he actually has been smoking cigars most of his life. He grew up tasting tobacco on tobacco farms, which is pretty interesting if you hear those stories. But so being around that, I had a taste for them a little bit early on, and I did have that experience where the wrapper just completely came undone, and it was not a fun experience. I didn't know exactly what was happening, but I definitely had to stop smoking that cigar because it was so bad. The wrappers just kept coming undone. Yeah. And it was a little bit dried out. You don't want that. Just if that happens, it's okay. Just you can throw out the cigar. If it's not working, it's not working. Right. You want a good smoke.
It doesn't mean anything bad.
Right.
It's really just on the cigar, usually because of the humidity that you kept it at. So make sure you find yourself a good humidor, season it right. We'll have an episode where we season a humidor. That'll be fun.
That'd be great.
Yeah. But inspecting your cigar, so you got those. This is a very, very rare thing. I want to start off with this. It's very, very rare. But you can get cigar beetles to come out of your cigar.
Okay, so I've heard of cigar. It's a weird thing to say, cigar beetles. Like, what is that? Bugs in your cigar? I've actually heard of that a couple times, and I don't know what it is. I really don't.
Right, you never experienced it.
Never actually experienced that.
So I got the displeasure of experiencing it not too long ago. And
Not too long ago.
Not too long ago, actually. Luckily, it was on a single cigar that I had not. It wasn't in my humidor yet or anything like that. I accidentally grabbed it from one of my friends that had humidor, and I told him, better check your humidor, because what you'll see, guys, is you'll see little spots, little holes, like somebody took a thumbtack and started poking holes in your cigar. Sometimes it'll be a trail, like if you've ever had termites, it'll be like that.
Or like caterpillars on a leaf.
Yes.
Little holes.
Yes.
Okay.
Good analogy. And that is a sign that a cigar beetle came out of your cigar.
Are they actual
They are
living beings?
They are literal beetles. So the
That's
way they come
awful.
about, okay?
Wow.
This is how you avoid it, first off.
Okay.
It comes about because where do we get cigars from? Tobacco plants, right? Where are plants?
The ground.
And what is in the ground?
Also bugs.
Bugs, right? So some very, very few, some cigars have cigar beetle larvae, like you would never be able to see it. On one of the leaves, and they stayed on there, right? And they never came to life because they were never put in the right temperature. But if you heat up your cigar too much, or it's too humid in there, they can come to life.
So if your humidor is not,
It's not in the
that the right
65,
temperature?
70 range.
Okay.
Then if your humidor is at 90, go home, stop listening, turn around, don't go to work. Turn around, go get your humidor.
Still continue to watch the podcast, but still go home and take care of your humidor.
Yes. And make sure you open it up, let it air out, because that is exactly how they come. They can, in that environment, they can birth into a beetle. And there are, just go Google it. Anybody listening, go YouTube, go Google it.
I'm curious now.
There's entire humidors that it's just leaves.
Really?
They'll just tear it apart.
Wow. And so you had one cigar, and did you smoke the cigar and then realize it, or did you realize it
No.
and then throw it out?
You know why? Because I inspect my cigar before smoking it.
Smart man right
There
here.
you go. Make sure you inspect it, guys. That is not a common thing. So don't freak out about cigar beetles. It's a fun thing to talk about. I know very, very few people who have actually had cigar beetles in their life. So don't worry about it. I've never had it in my own humidor. So just don't panic. You're not going to smoke a beetle.
Okay, so question.
Yeah.
What happens if you get cigar beetles? You don't realize it till after you start smoking the cigar. Are you smoking bugs?
No.
So
yes.
is that like a very unhealthy thing?
No. It's like I said, you wouldn't even be able to see them with the human eye. So it's
Just make sure you inspect your cigar.
Yeah,
make sure it has no holes in it, correct?
Yes.
No
If it's got holes, don't smoke it.
Okay.
Because, and you can have a little experiment, which is what I did. Unravel your cigar, see if it's still in there. If not, it's somewhere.
All right. It's in your brain.
Well, it's running around somewhere.
It's running around
Let's try
somewhere.
to find another good cigar.
You got a different type of termite in your
but
house.
can you blame them? They're running around, trying to find good cigars. So we might as well be cigar beetles.
That's basically us.
We should be the Cigar Beetles podcast.
Oh my God.
No, we should.
We found a new name.
Yeah.
We're starting over.
So make sure you inspect your cigar before smoking it. That's really all I have to say.
That's definitely something I'm going to do from now on, because I never knew that before. Right now, I heard about cigar beetles before, but I never actually understood what they were and how to look for them. So I'm definitely going to do that from now on, especially with my humidors too.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that's why you want to take care of it.
how often do you check? Just every so often, Is there a certain amount of time that you need to be checking on your cigars and your humidor?
Typically, they'll have a hygrometer on there that
Right.
it looks like a clock.
Right.
On the clock. It's not a big grandfather clock. It's a hygrometer, which will check, which will tell you the humidor. But I just want to let you know, most hygrometers that come installed on a humidor are not very accurate.
Okay.
So you want to get yourself a digital hygrometer.
Digital.
Okay.
Okay.
And that'll be a lot more accurate for your humidor. Just every time you go to grab a cigar, maybe take a peek at it. It's not a big deal. Just take a peek at it. it's not going to happen. If you make sure that you season your humidor correctly, it's more than likely never going to happen. Just don't leave your humidor open for extended periods of time. You know, if you're going on a road trip, try and keep the AC bumping in your car. You know,
with your travel humidor.
Yeah. So, you know, just be smart about it. Again, you never really need to worry about it.
Okay.
I think my first 3 years of smoking cigars, I didn't even have a humidor. I kept it in a box, and I had a hard cigar every once in a while because it dried out. But you know, in the beginning, you're learning.
Right.
You know, it wasn't about all of that to me, and I'm still not a picky smoker. You know, I as much as I smoke cigars, and as much as I'm going to continue to smoke cigars, being the cigar industry and all that, I never want to be a picky smoker. I will always enjoy a good smoke.
Right. Yeah. And speaking of beginners, I am I'm relatively beginning my cigar smoking career.
Well, you're beginning your cigar education.
Right. I think that would be the best way to put it.
For a long time.
Yes. So I had my taste a while back, and then I lost it for many years. And then it came back pretty recently in the last year. And then we picked it up heavy with each other, and then the podcast came to life, and here we are. But I mean, the learning process, I think, is what is so wonderful and educational, especially because through this podcast we're going to be talking about a lot of little insights that beginners should know, 101 kind of stuff. And for one, the cut. So I mean, starting with a cigar, you have a cigar, you open it, and so actually, let's first start with the band.
Okay.
So you told me once, you said, keep the band on until the cigar is smoked right up to the band, and then take it off.
A lot of people don't know that. Even seasoned cigar smokers.
Right. Yeah. And I was surprised. Why is that?
Do you remember that? No, you don't.
I don't remember. Okay. Why is that? Why do you keep the band on?
So the reason you do that, okay, when they, this, all it is glue holding this little wrapper together. And I'm sure if you've smoked cigars before, you've seen where you try and take it off early and it just tears apart. It rips in half or just terrible.
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
When the cigar is smoked down to the...
I'm listening.
I forgot what it's called.
Band?
The band. The cigar is heated. So when it's heated, the glue becomes unglued a little bit more. It becomes heated.
It loosens the glue up.
Loosens it up.
To where it'll come right off and you can go ahead and store it. And,
right.
What I like to do is I like to keep all the different cigar bands that I smoke. And if I smoke a different cigar, or if it's a special occasion, take the band off, put it in your wallet. When you get home, take it out, write whatever it was, for our first podcast.
Yep.
I'd smoked that cigar before, but I took it off. I wrote first cigar podcast. So one day when I go through, my collection, I'll be like, oh my gosh, that was awesome. I date it and all that sort of stuff. So it's a fun little, it's part of the hobby.
And you have a massive jar of all of your saved bands, don't you?
I do.
Which looks so cool, so I recommend keeping your bands.
It's
actually really cool. Just keep it in big jars. Like, this is all the cigars I've ever smoked. Not ever maybe, but most all of them. Boom. That's really cool.
All the different brands, all the different types. It's something that I actually started doing right away. Like I probably have maybe 10 cigars that I have not kept the band.
Did you see that from someone else and then adopt it?
No, I just thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah. It's a great idea. I've just started to do it. Yeah.
It's a fun collection.
Jar now.
It's a fun collection. Yeah. So going back to the cut.
Right.
All right. You got three main cuts, guys. You got your V cut, which is probably the most sought after, I'll say.
Yeah.
Right? It's typically a more expensive cutter, so not a lot of people have it.
It's my favorite cut.
But it's more sought after. So you see, this is a V cut right here. It cuts a V into your cigar, right? The reason you get a V cut is it typically gives you a better draw. It's nice because you don't have to worry about the cap. The cap on a cigar brings me into the straight cut, or some people like to call it the guillotine cut. It's a little more fun that way. Mm-hmm. The guillotine cut, or the straight cut, that's the most common. Mm-hmm. You just chop it, right? It's a straight blade, you chop it. and you want to focus on the cap of your cigar. There is always a ring on the very top of your cigar, and you want to make sure you cut above this way on that, and that'll make sure that your cigar doesn't unravel at the end because you're only cutting that cap.
Right.
Rollers leave that cap for the cut. And then the last one's a punch cut, which is probably the least common. You just kind of, it's a small circle. You plunge it in, you pull it out. There's a little circle on your cigar. I found that that's most common with ladies. I'm not really sure why, but yeah. So those are your 3 cuts. Now, there's some fun ones though.
Before we get to the fun ones, though, I gotta say, I tell a little story. So when I first started smoking cigars, I used to do the straight cut, the guillotine cut. And what I noticed was I kept having the taste of cigars on my lips for hours afterwards. And then sometimes even the morning after, I would wake up and still have the taste of cigars on there.
Yeah.
That was always interesting to me. And then as I switched over to the V-cut, that went away. And I wake up the next morning, I don't taste it at all. You know, I have a great night's sleep because I had a good cigar. So I always thought that was kind of interesting, and I will never go back to the straight cut.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if I've ever heard that reasoning.
It just stayed. It's just the taste stayed on my lips for a while.
And that's also a really good point. It's a testament to the fact that there's so many different ways to do this. Just find yours.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you love a punch cut. There's nothing wrong. There's no real reason why people just don't prefer the punch. But if you love the punch, go punch every cigar you ever have.
Right. There's no wrong way.
Yeah, there's no wrong way. Those are the 3 ways. They're all, those are the 3 main. But some fun ones, which some of, I guess this first one's a little, don't do it in a cigar bar, but you can do it with your buddies.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Your first one is the bite. Maybe this is a fun trick to pull out on the golf course. Nobody's got a cutter. You're like, oh man, we can't smoke our cigars.
Yeah.
So you go out and you just and make sure you use your side teeth.
Literally just bite it.
Bite the very tip off. Go ahead and smoke it. Have a good time.
It's an interesting one.
It's worth. I mean, it's either have a cigar or don't.
If you really like tobacco, just bite the thing.
Well, don't eat it.
Yeah, no, don't eat it. If you really like tobacco, smoke a good cigar. Don't eat the cigar.
I actually know.
We don't recommend eating cigars.
I know a guy who eats cigars.
Are you kidding me?
No, I've never told you that.
Are you joking?
No, he legit eats cigars.
Who is this guy? Can I meet him?
Yeah, probably. He lives in Cincinnati. He's one of my dad's old buddies. His daughter asked him, he smoked so many cigars, his daughter asked him to stop smoking cigars. And he said, okay.
And then he started eating them?
He started eating them. Typically, he doesn't swallow a lot of them.
What's the point of that?
I think at that point he was probably addicted to something.
Yeah.
I think he just needed, I don't know. Maybe it was stubbornness.
Okay, I guess so.
I'm not going to smoke cigars, honey, fine. Watch this.
Oh, you won't let me smoke cigars anymore? I'll just eat them.
Yeah, and now he brags too because he's
so weird.
Because he'll joke about he can go to a NFL football game and bring a cigar and he can enjoy his, but we can't. Because he'll just. That's all do it, dude. That's
like
all
candy.
Like candy. I don't know. Don't do that.
That's weird.
The second one, we got the crown cut, which is a fun one. And I personally do it. I think it should be a staple. All right, we're going to make it a staple here at Dreamer Cigar.
Okay.
A staple. Okay?
Here's your staple.
So, yeah. Staple. Get it?
Wow.
I need that sound.
You're so funny.
So you have the V cut, okay? You take your V cutter. Typically, you're not supposed to do this, but I'll go ahead and have some fun. All right? You take your V cutter, you V cut it one way. Perpendicular, you do it again. So you go ahead here, and it looks like a crown. So, typically,
I like that one as well.
Kings will smoke, but that's the crown cut. And then the last one, and this one is very specific to the cigar you're smoking, a triple punch. Okay? Triple punch is when you're smoking a cigar like that. The ring gauge is like the size of this glass.
Yeah.
Right? There's no way you're going to do a V cut.
Right.
They do make enlarged guillotine cutters for large ring gauge cigars. Which, guys, the ring gauge, by the way, probably should have said that, is the basically the diameter of the cigar. How round is it? Is it this? Is it this? Bigger, bigger? That sort of thing. But this is what you do if you have a giant one. You take your punch cut, plunge it once, plunge it twice, plunge it a third time in a triangle, all connected. So then there's a big hole in the middle. And that way, even if it's this big, you can just smoke a little portion.
Have you done that before?
I have.
Do you like that one?
Smoking a big cigar is just an experience on its own.
You mean like that one that was like, what, this size?
Yep.
He smoked a cigar like almost this size, and I don't understand how he
If you
did
follow me on TikTok, you'll see it's the one I compared to a White Claw.
that. Yeah.
It's the same size as a White Claw.
Your TikTok has it all. It really does. Everything you want to learn about cigars is
all right,
on this TikTok.
There's the cuts. Next, we got the lights.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I'm trying to light my cigar, how should I do it, and why?
So, what I learned early on is you never want to use a big lighter, and the reason for that is because, what's it called?
Lighter fluid.
It's the lighter fluid. You don't want lighter fluid. So, one of the best ways to light cigars to get a nice cedar taste is cedar. Literally cedar.
You can buy cedar spills from your average cigar shop.
Right. And you can also get cedar as you walk in Cutter Cigar Bar and Lounge here.
Bingo. Come get some cedar, man.
It's right up front, and you can walk right into the humidor, get your cigar, and get your piece of cedar. So you light the end of the cedar, light your cigar as you usually do, and you actually get some cedar taste out of it. I have not actually done it before. But yeah, should not today. We'll do it later tonight, and maybe we do it on the next podcast, next episode. We'll do that.
So,
but I've heard a lot about it, and people have always said they actually do get that cedar taste out of it, which I always thought was pretty interesting.
So, cedar spill, right? It has that natural taste. But going back to the Bic lighter, the lighter fluid,
right?
What's the difference? Or why can't I use lighter fluid, right? It's going to change the taste.
Right.
Now, if you're a beginner, you're not going to be able to tell. You're not going to be able to tell the difference between a cedar spill, and a Bic lighter. You won't. But eventually you will, and it will change the entire kind of nature of the cigar. So when you're talking about a typical cigar torch lighter, right? You have your typical torch lighter. It's butane.
Yep.
Right? Butane, which has no scent, thus has no flavor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to change your cigar. But what's the last way to typically light your cigar? I mean, if you want to go to a campfire, you don't have a lighter, just go light it.
Especially around a campfire, that's a good point. Matches. Use matches, and the reason that you use matches is just to get a different kind of taste out of it. So you let it burn for a second to get the scent out. Light the match, let it burn for a second or two, and then you light your cigar. You get more of a taste out of it than lighting the match and going right into it. And why is that though?
Why?
So I never fully understood. Like I understand the reason, or not the reasons, but the process of matches and letting it sit for a second or two and then lighting, and you get that little bit different of a taste. But is there any kind of reason behind why that is?
Why the match is good, or why you wait?
Yeah, both actually.
So waiting, you want to make sure that charcoal comes off, because charcoal has scent, so it has a taste.
Good point.
So it's that's why you just want to wait for the tip to burn down. But it's the same, essentially the same thing as a cedar spill. It's a wood flavor. It's a natural wood, so you're going to get a natural wood flavor in your cigar. It's going to be a natural type of thing. Now, personally, I'll tell you, some people swear by it. Some people will, if it's a hurricane outside, they'll get their entire box of matches and try and strike it and try and light their cigar, just because they're dead set on matches. Me personally,
hardcore.
I'm not a match guy.
Yeah.
It's matches. I mean, they do make cigar matches, which are really long, so it helps. But I like to, you laugh at me sometimes. I like to paint my cigar. Right?
He's an artist.
Yeah. I like to take my Bic lighter, not my Bic, my butane lighter,
Right.
my torch, and paint the foot to make sure it's all even. I feel like with a match, sometimes it's hard to tell if you got the whole thing, and you got to use another one. If it's, like I said, if it's windy outside, you're struggling. I don't ever want my cigar experience to be a struggle. That's not what cigars are for.
Yeah, and when you first actually explained to me, you said you should paint your cigar with your lighter. I laughed. I was like, "What are you talking about?" It's just you're just smoking a cigar. Yeah, you're just smoking a cigar. You're not drawing a painting. You're not Da Vinci out here. But after you cigars, aficionado.
I'll take that title. It sticks.
We can give it to you here, maybe here and there. Only on the days that end in what?
AG, aka Da Vinci. Anyway, go ahead.
New name. You're not AG the Dreamer anymore.
No.
But I laughed at first, and then you showed me how to do it. Paint your cigar. You get the edges first, and then you go into the middle, and then you take a couple puffs while you're lighting it. And I realized it's actually a big difference, and you actually light the entire end of the cigar quicker and more efficiently, so that you don't have to relight your cigar later on, and it allows you to not boat. And canoe, whatever.
It actually has a million different names. I called it canoeing one time, and like so many people were like, "Dude, it's called a run," and I'm like, whatever you want.
Yeah, it's a lot of different names for it.
It's a big yacht.
Yeah, the yacht run or the boat run. Basically, when you have part of your cigar lit and it's coming down, lighting. It's being lit down the side of the cigar, and the other side is staying stagnant. It's not actually lighting. And
most people that have smoked a cigar have had this experience.
Right. I've had it once.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
so
easy.
Don't feel
fix.
bad as a beginner if it happens.
It's an easy fix. It's not embarrassing. It's just something that happens. And what you can do is just either blow on the end of it, to get that side lit, light it, or you can just let it ride out, and then it'll fall off and. Eventually. It's not a big deal, but
just touch it up. Go ahead, touch it up on one side, even it out. It's all good.
Okay, Michelangelo.
I need a small paintbrush.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. So those are the different ways to light a cigar, right? So you got your cut, you got your light, you got your cigar lit. You're sitting there on your back porch by yourself because. Typically, when you try a cigar for the first time, you're like, okay, I don't want anybody around. You're like, okay, I'm going to screw this up so I don't want to look bad. Guys, don't worry about it. The cigar industry, the cigar community is fantastic. It seems intimidating, but it's so accepting. Don't worry. Come here to Cutters, any cigar lounge, walk in and say, I'm a beginner. I've never done this before. Teach me.
Yeah.
Come in humble, and they'll love it. Now, what you don't want to do, and I did this in the beginning because I didn't know not to.
Yeah.
That's why we're here, to help.
Very true.
I walked into the Humidor, I was like, I like, more cedar in my cigar. They're like...
Trying to be cool.
Yeah, They're like, okay, what do you use to cut your cigar up? I typically just like to cut it, scissors.
But feel unraveled.
I tried to fake it because I thought they were going to be like intimidating or something. But if I would have went in and I would have been like, I have no idea about anything. I'm just interested to learn. So, they would have accepted me with open arms, and it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Because it seems so intimidating. This place is wonderful. You walk in, you feel like you're just, you're in a palace.
Honestly, this is one of the best places. I think, honestly, the best place to learn about cigars because you walk in, you get service right away. As soon as you walk into the Humidor, which is massive, by the way, you have service. They ask you, what kind of cigar would you like? What's your taste? Yeah. And then if you say, I have no idea, they walk you through the steps to get you what you need. They're not going to give you a hard Maduro right away,
No.
They're not going to give you some dark stuff like that, but they're going to give you what you need based off of what preferences you give them. And if that's none, it's none. They're going to get you to the right steps. But that's what I like so much about this place. You got first customer service that's unbeatable. I've never seen anything like this. Other cigar lounges that I've walked
They'll
into.
be like, tell me if you need any help.
Yeah, they're just like, tell me if you need any
Go
help.
back on their phone or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
but-
they don't even talk to you at all.
So
you
find
just
your
gotta walk
spot.
in and find
If
your
you're in Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, bordering states of Georgia,
Yeah.
it's. I mean, if even if you're in Ohio, it may be worth the 7-hour drive just to have a cigar here.
I think it would. I think it would be.
But there's always going to be a great shop no matter where you live. If you live in Canada, if you live in Australia, go have a cigar.
No doubt.
Right? There's always going to be a good place. So you got it. We've gone through the cut. We've gone through the light. You got it lit. You're ready to smoke it. But how do you smoke?
Let's get to the puff.
Is it, one of the most common questions for people who don't know about cigars is it just the same as a cigarette?
Nope. It's not the same as anything else because you don't inhale it. And that might be something that's
Wait, you don't
given.
what?
That might be. You don't inhale cigars, Adam.
You don't inhale cigars?
AG, you never inhale cigars.
Hambone, I know how to smoke, dude. You inhale everything. Come on. I know. I mean,
Okay.
no, I'm just kidding. But people say that. People do.
Honestly, a lot of people do ask that question. He's gotten a lot of those questions. Do you inhale or not? No, you don't.
No.
And I mean, it's not embarrassing to ask that kind of a question. If
it's
you're
not
a first-time
embarrassing to
cigar
ask.
smoker, it's just a learning process.
The problem is when you know how to smoke a cigar and then you go to people who are smoking cigars, you're like, man, just inhale it. What's wrong with you? What are you, weak or something? It's like,
I've
no,
never heard
that's
that.
not the point. Yeah.
Never heard that.
Yeah.
If I ever heard that, I would walk away
You just be like,
because they have no idea what the shit.
yeah, they don't know what they're doing. But don't inhale your cigars, okay? So how do you not inhale? Say you've been smoking cigarettes and you're trying to wean off of cigarettes, and I've actually known a couple people that have quit smoking cigarettes because they picked up cigars.
Yeah.
They can have a cigar once a month and they just quit cigarettes like that.
Oh yeah, I know a bunch of people have done that.
So, but how do you not inhale? If you're used to inhaling, if you've smoked other things and you inhale, you vape, or whatever it is, and you inhale, how do you not inhale?
There's different kinds of ways that you put your lips in the cigar. The first way is the duck face. And what's the duck face, Adam?
The duck face. This
Is his
we should
favorite?
probably find a better name for this, but
It
everybody
sounds like we're taking a selfie.
But you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? It's the duck face, right? That is the best way. I mean, I've taught countless people how to smoke cigars, and that is the best, most common way people learn. Okay, you don't when you do the duck face, you don't go, you don't like suck in, right? So you simply just go to your cigar, boom, no inhale. If you're starting off, you're gonna blow out. That's fine. It's fine. Blow it out.
That's it. That's it.
If you really want to, blow all the smoke away. It's fine. You'll get the hang of it. Don't worry about looking cool in the beginning. The worst thing you can do is try and be like, try and be like a mob boss and put that thing halfway.
Right. You're not the Godfather, so simmer down.
Yeah, exactly. So make sure that if you're doing the duck face, take it slow. Don't try and puff too hard. Don't try and be cool and get a bunch of smoke. Nice and soft, right?
Yeah.
That works for most people.
What's the other way?
The next one is the kiss. And the kiss, judging that, in the United States, you have to be 21, smoke a cigar now. Hopefully you kiss somebody. I mean, man. Hopefully, I don't know. Act like you're kissing.
Hopefully.
Act like you're kissing your mom on your cheek, I guess. But it's a nice, simple, just think of it. It's easy. Some people learn that way.
We've taught friends like that.
Yeah, those are the two best ways I know how. I've actually never even heard anybody try and teach somebody like in an effective, like systematic way. I've always just heard people be like, "Try this cigar, man."
Yeah.
Try it.
Nobody ever goes
People
over
are
like these little basics,
Just basics.
Which is why I think this episode is a good, beginner's episode. It's a 101 to cigars.
We wanted to make sure, we may not have a guest, we may not have all the dreamer side of things, but this is a necessary podcast because we want to help people.
Most definitely.
Right? So, what are we trying to look for in a cigar? I got my cigar, I got it lit and everything. I'm a month in. I smoked my first 2 cigars, or maybe that's a lot for like some people. Just if you're a year in and you've smoked 10 cigars, now you're starting to be like, okay, I'm getting it. Mm-hmm. What am I going to look for in a cigar? Why would I pick this cigar over that one?
Right.
What makes a good cigar versus a bad one? How can you tell? What's the first thing you look for? Personally, I know I'm tossing you a curveball.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. It's a really good question. One of the first things I look for is the notes, and what notes? By notes, I mean taste. How does this
things, but just
right, your palate, and everyone has a different palate, so you can't have the same taste of cigars as everyone else, but when I smoke a cigar, I usually like medium body cigars.
Yeah.
So this champagne is one of my favorites. It's an easy smoke. It's got a beautiful draw.
Which is another important thing.
Yeah.
The draw.
Right.
The draw is, to me, that's almost, well, I guess it's not my most important, but it's a given. Mm-hmm. Like if it doesn't have a good draw,
right.
Which by draw, guys, we mean the pull of the smoke, right? It's like picture drinking a nice smooth Coke out of a big straw, and then that's a good draw. And then picture everybody's had this experience. You get a really small straw with a nice thick milkshake.
A paper straw. Think of a paper straw in a milkshake that has been sitting there for hours and it's all soggy.
So it's impossible.
It's impossible. You can't even, so you don't want that.
It's everybody's had that experience where they have a straw with their milkshake and they're trying to get it so bad.
You're getting an ab workout from drinking a milkshake. You don't want that.
Draw. That's one thing. Now, when you get a little, I guess, more into it, or maybe it's your second year, you're smoking a little bit more, whatever, it gets to the construction of the cigar, which what we mean is the rolling, which a cigar, I guess we should have started with this. A cigar is pure tobacco.
Right.
It's pure tobacco. It's a bunch of leaves rolled and lit. Mm-hmm. There's no added anything. Sometimes you can get some sugar added to the wrapper. There is sweet tip cigars and things like that. I actually, the past week, don't try this if you're a beginner. I had a tequila infused cigar.
Oh man!
It was on the wrapper, and they have bourbon cigars and all that sort of stuff. So there is that, but
that had to be good.
It's never going to be like you don't have a filter in a cigar.
Right.
You don't have added chemicals or added anything. It's leaves rolled together that have been aged for a long time.
A couple of weeks ago, I actually looked up the process in how cigars are rolled and made, and I found some very interesting things. I was shocked, honestly, on how they go about the process, and I definitely recommend if you want to learn how cigars are made to look up a video on how they roll them and how they take them off the plant and then go through the process. It's very informative, actually.
It really is.
It taught me a lot because when I smoke cigars now, I have more of an appreciation for them than I did before.
Right.
So I definitely recommend that.
Exactly. Agreed. So the construction, if it's well rolled, right, that's going to affect the boat.
Right.
The canoe.
The big yacht.
The canoe. Yeah, the big yacht in your cigar. If it's poorly rolled and it's more packed on one side than the other, the air will cause it to run. But you can see, if you can see in this cigar, it's got a little bit of a slant in it, but that's normal. That's okay. There's many different factors for that, but you want to make sure it's pretty much even all the way around. That means it was well constructed. The burn is good. The burn is important. Construction, that means if your ash holds really well, which don't be an ash holder. I like to say don't be an ash hole. Okay, don't be an ash hole.
What'd you call me?
You're an ash hole. No, I'm just kidding. I can be an ash hole, but one by myself.
For today's episode, I'm an ash hole. Okay.
But those are the guys that hold their cigar like this, and they're trying to hold the ash because they want to look cool. Don't try and look cool. Just smoke your cigar, have a good time, right?
We should name our podcast that.
And they'll go like this. They'll try and hold their cigar. You can see they will. I've seen it. And you can see this ash is holding pretty well. It's about an inch.
Yeah.
And it's, I can dangle it and it's not coming off. Now, a simple tap, knocks it right off. That is how you want it to happen. If it's just falling off and falling off and falling off and not holding at all, then that's probably not a well-constructed cigar.
I've had that one time too.
Tobacco.
A little while back, I had that too. I mean, and that's the thing. It's almost a trial and error, you know, especially when you're starting out. It's just trying different cigars and seeing what your palate accepts and doesn't accept, what you like and what you don't like, and then eventually, after you get more and more into cigars, you can understand the draw and the tones and the actual taste of it. You know, at first you might not feel the taste or understand what it even means. But after so long, like me, I'm really understanding how each cigar is tasting. And I'm actually surprised by each new cigar that I try, because I'm able to explain them better, you know?
Yeah.
With better verbiage. Right. And that just brings more of an appreciation.
It's not you never have to get there if you don't want to. If you want to just smoke a cigar once every 6 months, that's fine. You know, it's not like we're sitting here saying, dude, if you don't know the binder, wrapper, and filler of your cigar, just get out of here. Like, we're not doing that. Exactly. We're not doing that.
Right.
Like today, I didn't know the binder, wrapper, filler in here. I didn't know I said it in the beginning. I didn't know the tasting notes that we were supposed to be getting. And there's no problem with that. Mm-hmm. It's not one of those things. But
we should have had a diagram with a binder, wrapper, filler. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
It's like,
we can put it in front of your face so nobody sees it.
Yeah, wow. Thanks so much. Ashhole. Maybe a great podcast name.
Ashholes.
The Ashholes.
Yeah.
We are.
I think there is
the Ashholes.
An Ashhole podcast.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's not as big as a Dreamer Cigars podcast.
Yeah, Dreamer Cigars is...
Just kidding. Anyways, so all of this said, all right, why cigars? Like, why cigar? Why don't you go to a brewery and have a bunch of different beers and try the beers? Why smoke cigars over some other thing?
So for me, it's the atmosphere. It's the relaxation that I get. Cigar smoking is supposed to be about the atmosphere and the understanding that it's much more than let's smoke a cigar for some nicotine. No, it's not just that.
If you're trying to smoke a cigar for the nicotine, you're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong.
You know?
That I will say. That is a wrong way to smoke cigar.
Right. It's for networking, business. It's for relaxing, just taking a beat and stepping back. And honestly, whenever I have a cigar, I do a lot of thinking. I do a lot of contemplating, you know? It allows me to take a step back from all the busyness in my life and actually be able to focus on other things, you know, as in business and
just life.
Everything. Life.
You sit down, you think about, all right, am I going in the right direction?
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Everybody contemplates life.
Right.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, and I think it's important
you're supposed
to delve into your mindset and to try and understand what you want from life. And sitting down and having a cigar, especially with a good friend like Adam here, is a good way to
AKA
progress.
Da Vinci of cigars.
Yes. AKA the Da Vinci of ashholes. So we got that out of the way. I don't know. It's more of the atmosphere for me. And I mean, honestly, without being biased, one of the best atmospheres I've had is here at Cutter's Cigar Bar and Lounge.
It's why we picked it.
It's why we're here right now.
It's why we're here.
Exactly.
It wasn't like we lucked into it and all this sort of stuff. Like we wanted it here.
Right.
Because this represents what we believe cigar experience is.
Right.
Sometimes it's not even, like you said earlier, it's not even about the cigar sometimes.
Right.
Like, what other thing can you really say that? Like, maybe I guess you could say going to a party is not really about the beer. But, okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really about the cigar. You know, sometimes it's about the experience. It's, you know, all sorts of things. It's having a good time. And guess what? You know, when you look at, just recently, right, we had the NBA championship, the Milwaukee Bucks, who won the championship.
Yeah.
They go in the locker room, they're partying their butts off, right? They just won the championship. What do?
have a cigar.
They light up a cigar. You can do both. You can. That's what I love. You can sit down on your back porch at night, look up at the stars, think about life, think about how great your life is, be appreciative of everything you have, all that sort of stuff, right? Figure out life's hardest questions.
Yeah.
But you can also go to a party, light up a cigar, and have a great time.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's all, full spectrum. Somebody asked me that yesterday, actually.
Really?
Yeah, they were like, why, when should I smoke a cigar? And I was like, whenever you want.
Whenever you want.
Whenever you want. There's never a bad occasion.
Hey, it's not illegal.
It's not illegal to smoke cigars. That's helpful.
That is very helpful.
So yeah, I mean, cigars are just a great experience overall. But I think, unless you have anything else you want to add.
Yes, I do actually.
Okay.
So, along with the atmosphere of smoking a cigar and the amount of contemplation and understanding that you can have for other things in your life other than the busyness that always goes on in your life, I think gratitude is a thing that I have really seen with cigars. Because when I have a cigar, I sit back and I go like this, and I have a drink, and I really start to think, especially if I'm with someone, we have a good conversation, and I start to appreciate the people that I'm with, the cigar that I have, and the atmosphere that is around me. And it brings this gratitude that I didn't have before. I've always tried to preach gratitude and appreciation for things in your life, but it really had a different twist to it when I started smoking cigars, especially recently. And I have you to thank for that too, teaching me a lot of the things that I know now along the way. But I think gratitude is a big thing.
We're here to spread the love of cigars.
Oh, most definitely.
What we're here for.
Most definitely.
Well,
yeah.
Typically at the end of your cigar, I did have a Churchill, which is a rather big cigar, so it's not happening right now. But you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Sometimes, very end of your cigar, and it starts to get hot, starts to sometimes it burns your fingers a little bit, and I'm having a little bit of that finger burning sensation right now.
Oh boy.
I'm having a little bit. So I got some finger burning questions.
So, okay.
But this time, typically we do it to our guests. This time we're gonna rattle them off at each other.
All right.
And these are randomized, guys. Okay, we got a group of questions. Logan's gonna bring up his randomizer.
They're finger burning questions.
Finger burning questions. Okay.
Yes.
The randomizer is gonna pop out a random question. I'll answer the first one, then we'll switch back and forth. So,
okay.
So what do you got for me, Mr. Randomizer?
First finger burning question. Let's see.
Boy.
If you could... You ready?
Oh, I'm ready. My fingers are burning.
They're burning. All right. I better get to it quick. It's going to burn off. If you could smoke a cigar with anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
Dude, I wrote this question and I never...
You never thought about it before.
I would get it.
Yeah.
Dang it.
I'm glad I didn't get this. This is a tough
question.
one.
I thought it was
If you could smoke a cigar with anyone, living or dead, who would it be? It's got me thinking now, too.
I mean, dude, how many people have ever existed? I mean, like, I could go around and say Jesus Christ, because that would be awesome. I mean, that would probably be who I would pick, but I'm not going to do that today.
That would be wild.
That would be
wild.
The coolest. I'm smoking a cigar with God.
With God.
With God himself.
I had a cigar with God last week.
You know what I'd like to do? I would like us to smoke a cigar with my great, I believe I got that amount right, grandpa that came over from Germany to the United States.
Really?
I think that's where I would go. I would just love to, dude, that's a journey. I mean, like, nowadays, like, we both grew up here, we live here, we've been on mission trips other places, so, we take for granted what we got. The United States, like, there's craziness going on, but there is everything.
Most definitely.
I mean, it is what it is. Life's never going to be just perfect. But we have so much, just that we take for granted here. I love that. Just sit down and have a cigar with them and have a great conversation. Just be like, man, what, just learn about not only my family history, but like also just like the struggles he went through. I mean, that's, you talk about dreaming and dreamers.
Yeah.
People that came over to the United States in the beginning, just worked their butt off to get somewhere, just do the American dream. Like, that would be awesome.
What time was that? What time period? Do you know?
I don't know, actually. That's why I was like, I think I got the grades right, but it was definitely a while ago. We've been around for a while. The Guards have been, and mostly in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. There's actually a Guard cemetery up there.
No way.
Yeah. So maybe, actually,
this is just your family.
Can it be? Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's really all Guards.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that awesome?
That is really cool.
It's really cool. We like kind of like ruled that land. I think he might have been a king. No, I'm just kidding. He definitely was a king.
Where are you, Scotland now?
Yeah, exactly. But like, I would if I could just change the question, I'd love to smoke like everybody in that graveyard.
Oh, wow. Like all your ancestors?
Dude, bring a Guard gathering.
Oh my God.
We have to smoke a nice dab it off.
That would be incredible.
What's the most expensive cigar in the world? I don't know.
That would be incredible. Now that I'm thinking about it, if I had to answer that question, I think I'd choose Marcus Aurelius.
Ooh.
From the Roman days. I think I would choose Marcus Aurelius. He has such insight. I've read so much about him. I've read books about him, articles about him.
Yeah.
I read quotes about him like every other day.
Yeah.
He has such insight for life
cool.
and how to live well. Not just to live, but to live well, because you only get one life. You only get one chance to do each day. And he fully understood what that means. I would just love to sit down and just pick his brain.
Well, that's not your question. So
Yeah. Okay.
I was about to take a sip of my drink before. I know your fingers are just toasted right now.
Because they're finger burning.
I would also show my great grandpa that smoking cigars, it's a dance sometimes. There's cool things we can do now.
Oh yeah, like what?
Toast your own bourbon with your cigar smoke.
Oh yeah. Cool kid.
Anyways, don't try and look cool at smoking cigars. Don't do what I do.
You can try.
All right, Logan. I'm going to read it to you, so just go ahead and click the randomizer.
Okay.
Right. This is a good one. If you were a cigar, what type of cigar would you be, and what would you be called?
Oh God. If I was a cigar, well.
What type? Would you be a Maduro?
God, that's a tough question.
Would you be a Maduro? Would you be a Connecticut? Would you be, you might be one of those like sugar-coated ones.
No, not sugar-coated.
Would you be a Swisher Sweet?
No, we would definitely not be a Swisher
cigar.
Sweet. That's not a real cigar. They have these weird tips and these.
Anyways.
Okay, yeah, we're not even going into that. If I was a cigar, honestly, I would probably go with a medium body. I would be a medium body.
Okay.
The name is tough.
Name's tough.
The name is tough. I really like my nickname here on the podcast, Hambone. The Hambone cigar. Think about that. Would you smoke that?
I would. The Hambone cigar has to be a Maduro.
That's a good point. When you think of the Hambone cigar, I do think of a Maduro.
A
dark cigar. Oily wrapper.
That's those Maduros, man. The dark, some on the real heavy cigars.
Okay, no, I like that.
Feel the oil. Yeah,
I like that. Okay, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna do a dark body cigar, more of a Maduro, and it's gonna be the Hambone cigar.
Okay,
I like that. That's a good one. Okay, I'm going with that.
All right, you got one more for me, man. My fingers
still going,
dude. I'm
burning. Burning.
It's almost gone, dude. I'm telling you.
All right. Okay, so. Finger burning question. What one piece of advice would you give to a first-time cigar smoker? One piece of advice.
One.
Just one.
Only one. We talked the whole podcast. Which one do I gotta pick?
Any single one, man.
Here it is. It's actually not a tough one for me. Okay. Be humble and have fun with it. That's two technically.
Be humble and have fun with it?
Mostly have fun with it. Like, don't like I said, don't walk into a humidor and be all serious or like, walk into a humidor, have fun with it, put your humble hat on, and just enjoy it, man. It's a great experience.
Yeah.
You won't be a beginner for long. Just have fun with it. Don't be nervous. None of that. So that's what I would say.
Okay.
That's what I would say. Simple and to the point. You know what I mean?
I like that.
All right. So,
Book on success.
the
Next finger burning question. Last one.
last finger burning, just down to the bone question.
What do you got for me?
What is your favorite book on success?
Oh, I've read a lot of books on success. A lot of books of. I really enjoy the self-help and inspiration and motivation categories. So that's a tough one for me. I've recently gotten really into reading. So actually, a small backstory too.
Okay.
Long ago, when I was a child, I never wanted to read anything. Like most children, they don't like reading. So all the way through high school.
I think I read maybe half a book all the way through high school.
Yeah, I always spark noted everything through high school. But then, a
Mr.
little
Swat, if you're listening, that's a lie. I read all of them. I did not do spark notes.
A little bit through high school or college, I actually had this passion for reading and for learning. So I kind of picked up that type of that genre of books. A couple months ago, I read this one book that I would say is my favorite book on success. It's called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Have you heard that one?
I have.
Yeah?
It's, how old is that book?
It is, it's pretty old because...
Isn't it like around 100 years old?
Oh, it's very old because...
Is it 1800s? It really might be.
It's hard to tell.
I think it was in the Carnegie times. What was that?
So Napoleon Hill's mentor was Andrew Carnegie. So he learned everything from Andrew Carnegie.
I don't know my history, but probably early 1900s.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Stood the test of time.
Most definitely. My favorite book that I've read on success is most definitely Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I highly recommend it. There's such insight in that book, and I learned a lot from it. And I'm actually going to read it in a few months from now, probably, because of everything that I learned from it.
Yeah, I mean, I fully believe, and this is probably a lot of people, they read a book and it's like a check mark, right? They read it.
They're like, yeah, we're done with this.
I fully believe that you should read if you find a book that just changes your life, you should read that book every year.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you're reading a book, especially a book on success or a success story, whatever it is, you're going to pull out the life experiences that you have going on right now.
Exactly.
You're going to see yourself in the characters.
Exactly.
Or you're going to pull out lessons that you need right now.
Yeah.
And a year from now, you're going to need something different.
Most
We're all going to, imagine, a year is such a long time. A year ago, dude?
You do a lot in a year.
A year ago, I wasn't even a whiff in the cigar world. It's a... yeah, exactly. I wasn't a whiff in the cigar world. It's just... It's so, that is...
highly recommend that one.
That's a perfect book. That's awesome.
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Check it out.
That's awesome.
Highly recommend that.
Well, man, I guess, unless you got anything else,
Actually, yeah, I do have another question. I got a good question.
Okay.
So...
You better be careful. I'm going to lose a whole finger.
You're going to lose a whole finger. You're going to have a nub for the rest of your life.
Oh, man. Good thing I like nub cigars.
I like that. That's good. So, if you were buying a cigar, let's say, for someone else, and you were maybe a first-time cigar smoker, or if you never smoked a cigar before, you just didn't really care for cigar smoking, and you walked into a cigar humidor at a cigar lounge, light cutters, what kind of cigar would you choose? How would you go about the process of picking a cigar for someone who does love smoking cigars?
Well, I think it's a really good question, but I think I'd have to go back to the humble hat. If you're a beginner, you just got to wear the humble hat.
Good point.
In anything, you got to wear your humble hat. It's an important thing that not a lot of people do nowadays, right? Yeah. You got to put on your humble hat. So, say that, and you walk in and you say, I'm not a big cigar smoker. You may even be a guy that doesn't smoke cigars at all, but this buddy loves cigars. I got buddies that don't smoke cigars at all.
Yeah.
And for my birthday, they better give me a cigar. No, I'm just kidding.
No. Or else they're not your friend.
No, exactly. No, I'm just kidding. But if they're going in and buying a cigar from me, I would want them to go in and talk to the tobacconist in the humidor. I'd want them to be like, hey, man, I don't really smoke cigars, but my buddy does. I think he likes this. I've heard maybe, what is it called this? You know, like whatever.
Yeah.
And what would you recommend? You know, like they're going to have such knowledge that they're going to be able to toss something out there that's going to be good. That's, you know, they can, if you know that guy and if he's an avid cigar, like give him give the tobacconist all the details you can.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that's what I would do. I'd put on my humble hat and just be like, hey, man, I don't smoke cigars, but my buddy loves them.
Speaking of
What
that,
should he smoke?
I really enjoyed I really appreciate Javier here at Cutter's Cigar Lounge because as soon as you walk in the door, as we were saying earlier, you get incredible service, and you walk into the Humidor and they say, what do you like? What's your taste? What kind of cigar are you looking for? They really ask you all the questions that you need to pick the right cigar.
He creates a great balance too. Me, actually, I like to talk, ask questions, but there's some guys, they smoke one cigar. Or they come to Cutters, they know what they want that day.
Right.
He'll be like, you know, he'll start talking, but he'll also, if you're just like, sorry, I'm just looking, or I know what I want, he won't push. Some tobacconists will be like, oh, what, man, you don't want to try it? No,
or they'll do nothing.
Just trying to have a relaxing time. Don't try and, like, I know what I want.
Yeah.
I'm literally trying to spend money at your place. Just don't, like don't push me. Like, so, you know, he does a great job at that balance. It's very important, for sure.
Very true.
For sure. That was a good question. That was a good question.
So
you look like you gotta know.
I actually do have one more.
Man, dude.
I think
this is cheating. I didn't have extra questions, dude.
No, I think this is. I've had this question for a while, and I want to get your views on it for the first time here. And I think our viewers would really enjoy hearing the answer to this too. So, if I'm a first-time smoker, beginner, you know, say you've never smoked a cigar, or you just had a few before, how do you find your taste, your palate for cigars? What's the best way to go about the process of finding your taste for cigars? How do you do that?
So you're talking about your specific taste, not like find the tasting notes in a cigar. Like you're talking about what you like.
Right, just finding your palate, understanding what your taste is.
I would have to say diversify. You know, I can't even count how many cigars I've tried since I started reviewing cigars over the past 7 months. And even, you know, a longtime smoker like me, I've seen so many cigars that I never would have thought of trying before. Mm-hmm. That I tried, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a fantastic cigar. And you know, I think that the diversifying will help them realize what they want, right? Have your first cigar. If you don't like it, next time you go in the humidor, say, I did not like that.
Just try different ones.
Don't give me that.
Yeah.
Right? There's a cigar for everybody.
Right.
But just tell them, I'm a beginner, but I don't like that. That's all I know. You know, humble hat, not that.
Yeah.
Like that rhyme?
Must definitely. I like that one. That's our slogan.
Yeah. Humble hat, don't like that. You know, that's what I would do. Just keep trying. You'll find your cigar. You'll find your taste. Once you think you found your cigar, keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There may be an even better one, or you may find 2 or 3 cigars. Go into your tobacconist, go into your humidor. Ask, you know, a guy like Javier, be like, I don't know exactly what I like, but I really like that. Mm-hmm. But I want something similar.
Yeah. Javier's a great person to do that.
So that's what I would recommend in order to try and find your cigar, your taste in cigars. You know, you may, and guess what? Years later, I would keep doing it.
Yeah.
I've been smoking now for almost 7 years.
How many different cigars do you think you've had?
Different cigars. You know, I got it in my cigar container. So I'd love to count. I should go count them.
You should go
all the different wrappers.
It's a lot.
I hope I don't have any doubles in there. That would stink. I'm not trying to be fake and have a million. You know, in the middle, I got like all the same one.
Yeah, you'd be a real asshole.
Yeah, don't want to be an asshole. Don't be an asshole. But I think total, I'm around like 150 maybe.
Really?
Yeah, 150. Like, I'd probably say within this 7-month period, I've tried possibly around 100 different cigars. And different, like different brand, different,
Yes.
Within the same brand, different cigars they have, different cigars they carry, all across the spectrums. I've had from Cubans, Nicaraguans, Dominican Republic, Hondurans, some American-made cigars, like in Miami, all that's like full spectrum. And I would recommend keep going. Once you find your cigar, I know certain guys that are like, I like this.
Yeah.
I like this. I only smoke this. This is what I know. Don't give me anything else. And you respect that. Like I said, okay, go ahead and have yours. But to those guys, I would say, try a different one.
Trial and error.
You may have been smoking the same cigar for 10 years.
Yeah.
And that's your staple. And you may try another one here soon. If you try and start diversifying your cigars, that is better than the one you've been smoking for 10 years. And the only reason you didn't find it is because you stuck with the same one.
You're right.
And guess what? There is a downside. You'll find some cigars you don't like at all.
Oh yeah, for sure. I sure have.
I have too. I definitely have too.
So it's just trial and error.
Trial and error.
Trial and error.
That's what I would say to the rookie.
That's a great answer. I like that.
That's what I would say to the rookie.
I think I am out of questions, honestly.
Out of questions.
For now.
Until the next
episode.
Man, it has been a fantastic time. I mean, it was just the greatest night. Here at Cutters, man, it's never a bad time.
It's never a bad time.
I gotta say thank you to all you guys for listening, watching, whatever you're doing. Please go follow us, comment, tell us what you want to hear, tell us what you want to learn about. If you want to be a guest yourself, come on. Pop in a comment, DM us on whatever it is.
We will answer all the comments.
We'll answer all the comments, guys. I promise you, we're here for you. We're here for the people. Right, we're here for the people.
For sure.
And make sure all the above. Go like, subscribe, follow, everything, and just come along for the ride. Dreamer Cigars is here for the long run. We're going to be here every Wednesday, posting every week. So make sure you hit our lives. Eventually, we may have some deals. So
we will have some deals and some offers.
Some deals
in the future.
eventually, So
you don't want to miss the live.
Don't miss the live.
Hit that notification bell for sure.
Hit that notification bell so you know when we're going live, and you can pop in and make sure you listen, however you're listening. So we're here to have fun. We're here to educate. We're here to just have a good time. It's just have a good time. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Dreamer Cigars podcast. Logan, I think that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Let's finish off our bourbons.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.